Tell me about the Spurn and what I can see down there.
So Spurn Bird Observatory monitors birds, conserves habitats in our area. We're based on the east coast near Hull. You can get there by driving down to us, or you can use public transport. If you come visit us on bus, you get reduced accommodation rates, so we're trying to encourage green travel over to the observatory. There's something to see all year round, so there's little auks in the winter, and all the geese come through migrating. In the autumn there's the possibility of some rare birds, and then in the summer there's the little gulls and the little terns are nesting on the site, so there's something to see whenever you come and visit.
Thank you very much.
So this is that age shows that
very cool, though.
So we've got the Speedy Gimble, so it's the world's fastest gimbal. So it's everything that a monopod wants to do, so it takes the weight of your camera all day long. You're ready for your shot, none of the restrictions that any other head has. So you don't have to worry about any locks, unlocking or tension. You're just ready to get your shot and you never miss a shot again with the Speedy Gimble.
Thank you very much.
And they were to report that number to the BTO. The BTO will be able to tell you that it was this bird, ringed on this date, and it was this species at this time, it was this wing length and whatnot. So the ring goes on with these special pliers which are adapted to fit different ring sizes. Goes over the leg, one squeeze closes it part way, you rotate it, give it another squeeze, and that's the ring closed, just like that. And actually ringing is probably the easiest part of ringing. It's everything else that takes the time to learn. And there you go, the ring goes up and down, spins around, it won't impede that bird's life at all, just like a person wearing a watch. So that's that done. The next thing to do is to age it, so we've already said it is a juvenile, and that gets an age code 3, which means current calendar year. We give everything codes, which is gobbledygook really, but it makes it a lot easier when we're recording and we're renting it later into the system. So it's an age 3, and it's also a 3J. So we can give it the J as well because it's still in most of its juvenile plumage. So it's a 3J. And because it's in its juvenile plumage, it's going to want to replace that to get its adult type plumage, and they do that after they leave the nest in this sort of time of year. So I'm going to blow around and look for any sign of feathers that are growing. And in fact, I can see it already just there. See those feathers there that are growing?
Yeah.
Exactly, yep. So there's some feathers growing there, you can still see the feather sheath. So that's the beginning of its post-juvenile molt, and that's how birds go from their juvenile plumage to their adult plumage. So you see the robin in the garden's all speckledy, and then it grows its red breast, and that's post-juvenile molt to attain that adult plumage. Because when birds are in the nest, they're very vulnerable. They've got no feathers, they can't fly, they can't defend themselves. If something comes in to eat them, they're going to get eaten. So the way they adapt to avoid that is that they just grow really fast. So for an open nesting bird, a bird that grows in a cup, it would fledge within 2 weeks of hatching. Even a blackbird, something like that, they go from an egg to fledging in about 14-15 days. It's really, really fast. Things that nest in cavities, like great tits, take about 3 weeks. They can give it a little bit longer. But that quick growth means that the feathers that they grow are really crap. They're not very good at insulating them, they're not very good at signalling to other birds next year when they want to attract a mate for breeding. They're quite drab, it's really loose plumage, the structure of the feathers is terrible, so they need to replace it before the winter while there's loads of energy available in the autumn, so they'll survive the winter and be ready for the next breeding season. So yeah, this bird's doing its post-juvenile molt, so we're going to give it a molt code P, so it's a 3JP. Great tits will also replace their tail as part of their post-juvenile molt. This bird's still got its juvenile tail for now. So yeah, 3JP.
Yeah, it was.
How much training do you have to do?
You can start when you're 14. Yeah. And there's a map on the BTO's website called the Find a Trainer map, and you can go on and look for ringing trainers near you and contact them through that. Yeah.
Will that bird need to have a larger ring, or does that last for his life?
Different size birds, or this bird in particular?
That bird in particular?
They won't grow anymore after they've left the nest, so the ring size is fine for its whole life. And in fact, birds in the nest sometimes require a slightly larger ring size, because when the bird's in the nest, they've often got really fatty legs. They're a little bit bigger, and once it's left the nest, the fat will reduce and its leg will become a little bit thinner. But we never put on a ring size that's then going to be too big later on, and fall off, or endanger the bird's foot anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Next thing to do.
Thank
Over here, so on the lenses you have 3 switches. You've got the sort of focusing range, so full or 3 meters and beyond. This is a useful thing to know actually, because if you know your subject's far away, sticking it on 3 meters and beyond stops the camera from hunting all the way through that focus range if it loses the subject. So you know it's only going to go from sort of 3 meters onwards, and it makes the pickup.
Shows his true colours, doesn't it?
If you watch the YouTube channel, you'll see Matt and Mike going off to Mull and Norway.
Yes, it was amazing.
Here's Mike's question.
Mike is also on a very good podcast, and I think they're podcasting here tomorrow.
They are.
The Wild X podcast.
Can I press the voice note, please? Right.
Yes. Yeah,
And Nature's a Hoot podcast, which you're going to be on Sunday.
yes, and Nick Baker's on this afternoon.
Yes.
So definitely
Tune in to
definitely go and watch Tom's
If you
podcast.
want genuine facts that are definitely true, listen to Tom.
I won't be there
Here we
because
go.
he's not here.
You want
My question for you is, if you were a bird, could you give us an example of what you think your contact call, alarm call and breeding call would be, and why?
Good luck.
Goody.
I'm going to abstain from this question.
What was it?
Oh, do you have to hear it again?
You're not written it down?
No, it's the
Brilliant.
contact call,
Alarm call, and breeding. Breeding.
I'm looking forward to that one.
We've got 11-month-old at the back.
Here we go.
A contact call. I think I just whistle like that. Oh, that's a good one
that's
already.
good.
I can only high whistle.
Go on, do it again.
I can't low whistle. I can't. You know, like most people whistle, like I can't do that. But I can do it through like the gap in my teeth. Like that.
Quite nice.
That's the only way I can. So that's my contact call.
Okay.
Imagine that. Imagine hearing that in the bushes.
What is that the most similar to?
There isn't really a bird that sounds like that.
Okay.
Would you
Great.
say a thrush?
Unique.
Sounds a bit like a thrush. Actually, the thrush has got like a million different phrases. So actually, a thrush has got a little bit of its song that sounds a bit like that. And I love a thrush.
Okay.
That's my contact call.
What's the next one?
Alarm.
Alarm.
Just, just like that. Just like both wings up. Oh no. Like that.
That's rubbish.
So why? Imagine that. Imagine seeing a bird. You walk up to a bird with your camera all bins, and he just goes, oh no.
Okay.
They're off.
And I'm scared to ask this, but here we go. Mating call.
Mating call.
If I could have to look away and sheer embarrassment.
Now, I was thinking about this. Now, I don't know. For once, I'm embarrassed. Or what about like?
Is it hot up here?
What about this? Ready? Ooh. Yeah. Like that. Like really deep. Ooh. Imagine hearing a bird go from this to this. Ooh.
What was on in the middle?
That's all I know. 4 octaves I can do. Not today though. What's next?
And I'm really glad that's over.
The mid-1980s, photographing a rogue Capercaillian Abernethy forest in
Scotland one morning. You can see I've got a stick resting against my knee in case the capercaillie got a bit too close. I think this was the lot when I was in my early teens with friends.
Danger of doing that. So. Still think you need to get a paintbrush out, Paul, and come and have a go. Well, this is what I was thinking, yeah. Yeah, do it, man. Do it.
Different people, it just sparks an interest. And we're talking about the ZooQuest stories as well. That world doesn't really exist any longer, does it, sadly?
No, the whole going around the world capturing animals, putting them in cages and taking them back to a zoo is
That's not quite so sad.
It's not very PC anymore, is it, that sort of thing? It still happens to an extent, but it's not something you can make a mainstream programme of. But we've become so exposed, and we're just seeing how easy travel is, international travel, for right or wrong. I mean, there's questions with all of these things, but it's so easy now. I mean, you just have to look around this place. There's people here sort of peddling trips to all sorts of places. There's some really good stuff, but it's like that's very much a new phenomenon in many ways. Back then it wasn't. There's no other way people would ever experience a mountain gorilla. At the moment, I'm sure we'll get to that in a bit. I'm working on a rare ant in the Canon, and I was at a nest watching the sexy ants, the males, the queens, and the virgin queens, the future queens, and the males all leave the nest. And that's an amazing thing anyway. And then I turned around and I noticed that the whole meadow behind was backlit, and there was swarms of flying ants. Now I know when you're dealing with pavement ants, ant days are kind of familiar, right? So you get those days where everything goes crazy, all the gulls are up in there, everyone's predating on these.
Flying ant day.
Flying ant day, yeah. So every ant species has its day in any particular habitat. But I've never had it reported that this species does this. So there was proper swarming going on. And there was clearly pheromones involved, because I was noticing if I could just defocus my eyes and look at this meadow, backlit meadow, I could see clusters of ants. And if you're into ants, you realise that the holy grail is a virgin queen. And they're really difficult to find. And if I could see a cluster of flying ants, I knew that I'd go over there and there'd be a virgin queen that all the males are clustering around. And so the pheromones involved, okay? So that's something, whilst we assumed it, in some species it's been proven, but no one had ever proven it on my species, and there it was doing it. So I can say, again, I'd need to do more actual work on it, but it's looking very likely. I said I'd be very surprised to find out that it's definitely pheromones. And this isn't written down anywhere. This is an actual discovery. Certainly for me, it's a personal discovery. I'll go on to remind me about slugs in a minute. And then you've got that going on, and then I noticed that they're also doing something called hill topping. So when a lot of insects are ready to mate, they all kind of go to a place where they hang out, like I guess the equivalent of a discotheque for insects. They all go there to meet singles, right? So singles club for insects, they all fly to a high point and meet up, and they were doing that as well. So whilst not tops of trees, they were doing on tops of bushes. They were moving upslope from the nest, tops of bushes, tops of heather clumps and stuff. And it was really good. So for me, there was a real sense of discovery.
Regurgitated matter, essentially, of anything that the owl can't digest. So it's all the bones, all of the fur, all of the feathers if they've eaten a bird. And that's quite a big pellet when you consider this is a replica of a tawny owl's skull, which that's quite big.
That's quite an uncomfortable moment, isn't it?
It is.
And when you see them doing it, it doesn't look nice. I mean, they kind of do it regularly. I used to keep owls, so I've watched these things being coughed up hundreds of times, but there is something about it, and you see them doing it and you think, God, I'm glad I don't have to do that every day.
Yeah.
And even, a bad night in the bar, it doesn't come out in a lozenge like that, does it? Yeah. If it came out in one lozenge, you could say it's not very nice. Is anyone drinking, eating? Yes, everyone. We are in a bar. It's not a comfortable thing, but they do. I mean, they lubricate it a little bit.
They do. I mean, so that was the tawny owl, which
lubricious,
probably almost twice the size in terms of physical size to the barn owl, which is here. I mean, look, this is a barn owl pellet, and that's a barn owl skull. I mean, how on earth there's something of old to check that up at that size.
The biomechanics of that are a mystery, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. Now the other ones here, these are little owl pellets which have been collected by our UK projects manager from nest boxes, and I kind of wanted to ask your support really and trying to identify, perhaps, what this little owl might have eaten.
Okay, I didn't bring my glasses with me, so I'm going to struggle.
I can help.
Oh, you got okay, right. We've got a good old-fashioned magnifying lens.
So this being the barn owl pellet here, this one being the little owl pellet, obviously very much smaller, but if you can't quite see it, I'll try to move it around in the light. They're like little jewels, aren't they?
Listen, they make nice earrings.
But I don't know what it is. What is inside there, do you think?
Well, I reckon it's going to be beetles, isn't it? I mean, anything metallic like that. Yeah, there's
kind of blue and purple.
Yeah, there's beetle. I found fox droppings like this as well, especially when door beetles, and it's door beetle season. You know, the old Dumbledores, the beautiful beetles that you find burying dung all around our heath, grasslands and woodlands. But yeah, I'd say they're quite small fragments. They're going to be, there's glistening, there's ground beetles in there. There might even be a door beetle or two in there. You'd have to crumble it up, I guess, and have a look. But yeah, I would say there's the obvious bits are beetle. There'll also be, if I was to break it open, I'll tell you what we could do. We do this tomorrow. We can break it up and put it under a microscope.
Great.
You would find there'd be thousands of setae in there, the hairs of earthworms. So if you've ever held an earthworm between your fingers, and again it's one of those sensory things that you should do, just like poking slugs and licking them. If you take an earthworm, nice big chunky lumbricus earthworm, I'm a patron of the British Earthworm Society, have you know?
Yeah.
It exists. If you pull a worm backwards through your fingers, gently, because if you put it too vigorously it snaps and it's not so good for the worm. But if you pull it gently between your fingers, you'll feel these sort of bristles. Even better, if you get it on a piece of dry paper and wait, it will wriggle around because it won't like it very much. But if you listen to it, you've got basically what is, in effect, a squishy looking animal, a moist, lubricious, squishy looking thing.
Absolutely. Constant, keep it polite. So you need a reliable source of information. Shameless plug for EcoFlix. Like Netflix, but with Eco. Look it up. There you will find reliable information about wildlife and conservation, and you can help charities like Born Free, who are a partner, and others, about 60 or 70 partners. So it's being discriminating as to where you get your information, and certainly be careful how you share. You see cruelty online that is actually a crime, and if you write on it saying this is awful, you're feeding the algorithm. Loves a good, don't write on it, report it to Meta or whoever is the company, and the Online Safety Act at the very last minute, because of some awful crimes committed against monkeys. There are some people who will pay to see videos of monkeys being abused. And that fortunately came out while the Online Safety Bill was being discussed, and it got animal cruelty into what was originally designed as a way of protecting children from harm. But children seeing the kind of awful things which get online is harmful. And thankfully that bill, although they're still working out exactly what makes it applicable in this case, but yes, there is legislation, some of which is unlikely, which can help animal welfare and prevent crimes, not just in this country, but you can pay for a crime that entertains you anywhere in the world, unless there is a law meaning that some policeman might knock on your door and say, oh, you're nicked.
Okay, thank you so much. To get footage like that, some days I'd spend 20 hours in the hide. The next day I might, well, 21 was the longest, 20 in the next day, 19 the next day, and then I dropped it to 18 hours a day because I did need a little bit of sleep, more than 3 hours sleep. But that's the sort of time that it takes to film these magical moments like the hatching. I've been there 5 times in the last 3 years when the kingfishers have actually hatched, and I'm actually behind that camera holding it, so the chicks are hatching within 40 centimetres of me. It's a quite extraordinary process. You hold your breath and it's like try not to breathe or move, but some of the most rewarding filming I've done. And while I was going to the kingfishers every day, I thought, oh well, I'll put a camera on the swan's nest every day while I'm there, and then I ended up a permanent camera on the swan's nest, and then one camera on the swan's nest then somehow turned into 17 cameras on the swan's nest, and again the project just got out of hand. This is just a little snippet of what I've witnessed with the swans. So this is, I wasn't there for this shot, but it's just the sound of this swan, female swan laying her egg. I've actually been there many times when she's literally laid an egg, and I've filmed her laying an egg in daylight. But this was the most dramatic, these noises. It's like a trail bag getting stuck in the mud.
I'm a bird conservationist, so I'm thinking about what I think about bird watching.